my stuff. Oh, and we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Future Chat. I was in the middle of talking when Rob hit the live button. I'm such a scamp. Welcome. I'm Nick, the loose cannon of the show. Mike is also here. Mike very much enjoys talking about cell phones. He's also a class act. Then there's Rob. He's really embraced the Macklemore hair.
He really has. Thanks for that introduction, Nick. As Nick mentioned, this is episode 116 of the program where everything is just crazy all the time.
And the points don't matter.
Yeah. Oh, the points matter. I've been keeping track. Nick, you were gone last week. And
this is true.
And in the last week, you have picked up a new toy to play with, so to speak. Phrasing, obviously, still in play. But before we get to the main discussion we want to have, which is relating to Pokemon Go and the new toy you got, we do have a couple of things that I wanted to follow up on. And I'm a little surprised by myself because I usually don't have things in follow-up. But this week I do. And they're kind of related to what Elon Musk is up to this week.
That's what your introduction should have been.
What's that?
Rob talks about what Elon Musk is up to this week.
So NASA had a press conference, I guess, with Barack Obama, and they announced together. I didn't see any of this press conference. I just heard about it through various grapevines because I follow space news. But apparently the United States and NASA are working to get to Mars by 2030 is what I heard. And apparently they weren't paying attention to Elon Musk and SpaceX's announcement that they were going to get there by like the mid 2020s. Either they think Elon's crazy or what? I don't know. I find it interesting that most people, to the common person, if you heard we're going to go to Mars as humanity, we're going to make the trip to Mars, I would either think that's crazy, it's so far off, it's so far away, like the technology isn't there yet, or I would think, well, yeah, of course, it's probably pretty easy, right? If you're like unaware of space. But both of these announcements have hit somewhere kind of in the middle where it's not seen as a totally crazy moonshot type of thing. Sorry to use the old language of moonshot when that was actually a thing.
Yeah, because it's literally harder than a moonshot. Yeah. It's literally the problem.
Moonshot's not even that hard anymore.
Yeah. Apparently,
I was just there for lunch. It was amazing.
The public and private industry are both now making plans in the next 15 to 20 years to go to Mars, like to have actual missions. I guess this has to be, like I said, I didn't actually pay that close of attention to the announcement, but this has to be sending people to Mars from NASA because we have rovers there. The next thing would be people. It wouldn't be this huge announcement, but I guess the main thing of this announcement is the United States kind of having a space program again. Like they send astronauts to the International Space Station, but they're using the Soyuz capsule, like Russia's rockets right now, after the space shuttle got retired. And they've been kind of waiting. They've been using different aviation companies like SpaceX for their launches of stuff, but they haven't actually had any launches of people in a while from the States. And so I guess this is the main thing is like, we're actually going to invest money in this. We're going to build America's space program back up again to the point that they can launch their own things. They can launch their own people. But I'm very excited to see space get investment and to actually get talked about by Obama. He's doing so many, like they're kind of in the very end of his 8 years. And so he guest edited Wired magazine this month. He did this big announcement with NASA. He's doing all these super nerdy things, these things that he really has deep love for, and like investing in NASA. If you're a president who's kind of a self-professed nerd and loves space, that would be like the coolest thing you could get to do because NASA has a perennially relatively tiny budget. So to be able to say, we're going to invest all this money just on your way out, and like promising to do that is, I think, a really cool move on his part. Do you guys have any thoughts on this?
Fairly hollow.
Not necessarily. Like it does make it harder to do if he's not president and the new president doesn't want to put any money into it. But it does kind of like earmarking those funds does kind of say we're going to do this. Like we had the same NSERC where I work. We had the same thing last budget where the Conservatives promised money for NSERC, and then the Liberal government came in, but they still had to give the Conservative the money that the Conservatives had promised the previous year. But they also ended up having to, or coincidentally or not, they ended up giving us even more money, the Liberals. And so it's not like it goes away. It'd be really hard for a new government to come in and take money that was promised back. It would look really bad, first of all, but also it would take some actual process to do. It's not a very straightforward process. But I'm very excited to see somewhere closer to home actually getting manned space missions again.
Didn't George W. Bush talk about going to Mars?
Yeah, well, that around that time is when they were doing the rovers.
Oh, okay.
It was after that when they, I guess not after, but around the same time period, but for different reasons, that they decided to retire the space shuttles. Like they were just coming to the end of their natural life, and they hadn't new like research into the next generation of space shuttle hadn't been started yet, and so the money just kind of ran out. But there's more money now. Nice. I'm pretty excited. Anyways, yeah.
No, I look back on that time, sadly, because I remember myself saying, Mars research when we were at home, and I'd look back on that now and go, oh, I was an idiot.
Yeah, I didn't apply to be an astronaut, a Canadian astronaut, specifically because that one CBC piece came out where they interviewed all the candidates, and it was like military pilot, civilian pilot, like someone who had like a PhD in space engineering and rocketry or something. I was like, I'm underqualified. I'm just a dude who likes space. But I am happy for anybody who does get to go, and hopefully at some point, I forget, did we actually talk about Blue Origin last week? How they did their test fire of the escape module?
Yeah.
Hopefully we can be space tourists in our lifetime. That would be close enough for me. So the other news that this is more directly relating to Elon Musk, I just came across it and thought it was interesting.
What is he up to this week?
He is going bonkers with selling Teslas.
Oh.
Tesla is apparently now, and I guess this is how they categorize it. I don't know if it's by price or if it's just kind of where they decide to put things, but the Model S is the best-selling U.S. luxury sedan by a lot. So basically kind of like the Apple of cars in that they're selling a lot more than high-end brands. And it makes complete sense because the way they're marketed, they're not marketed as a luxury car. They're marketed as an electric car that happens to be expensive.
They're marketed as luxury.
Are they though?
Yeah.
How are luxury cars marketed?
It's a luxury car that happens to be an electric vehicle.
I don't know, because you don't see...
It's a status symbol, Rob.
I haven't seen Teslas on TV. Like you see luxury cars advertised in television in print ads, but you don't really see that with Tesla. It's mostly just viral marketing,
right?
Like word of mouth.
That's a different type of marketing, though. That's not talking about the categorization of the vehicle. It's still widely considered to be a status symbol,
right?
So that's basically the definition of a luxury vehicle.
I guess so.
When you buy it for the status.
They're also very nice looking.
Mm-hmm.
Like you ask anyone who owns one, and they say that they own it because of the electric aspect, they're lying. That's a benefit of it. That's not why they have it.
I don't know about that. But
the Model 3, maybe.
I hope so. I hope the Model 3, if it actually ends up being as cheap as it's supposed to be.
But the S, there's no way you're driving that because of the electric aspect.
I guess I think of luxury cars as being limited in quantity in production, whereas that's how I think about it. Maybe that's wrong.
That's just limited edition.
Right, but that's kind of like, I guess there are luxury brands that just will make as many cars as people will buy.
Yeah.
But the Model S right now is super constrained by the actual amount they can
Mhm.
crank out in a quarter or in a year or whatever.
Like they're in the same category as like the BMW, the high-end BMWs, the Audis, the whatever. I don't know. Those are the
Mhm.
two off the top of my head. But it's people will buy it because it's a really nice car. It's a good car, but it's a status symbol as well.
I guess so. I mean, yeah, I still haven't seen very many. Like Canada doesn't get
No.
nearly as many as there are in specifically Southern California, but
Yeah.
I only see it as a nerd status symbol more than a like class status symbol. I know that I know that's just me, but I really just think, oh, so cool. Like I love the technology in that. Not,
Right.
oh, that's such a fancy car, you big shot.
But every other person's going to be, wow, what a fancy car, you big shot.
Right. We're like, oh, look at you spending all this
Yeah.
money saving the environment. Turns out coal is just as bad as any other fuel even if you're converting it to electricity first.
That's another story.
I was gonna say I never really thought, wow, that's a cool car and you're a cool person.
Yeah, I know.
But
no one says you're a cool person. Just, oh, that's a sweet car.
I've always just ogled the car.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
Except for this one time when I ended up talking to a guy in the Safeway parking lot about his car. It was a beautiful car.
Was it a Tesla?
No, it was a Mercedes.
Okay.
Oh, Mercedes. Another one,
That's the side my bread is buttered on. Apparently, there were only like 6 of them in North America or something like that too. So they were fairly unique.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I don't compliment just any car. I compliment the cars that the owner has just caught me staring at.
Right. Well, that sounds analogous to people checking out your bike. In that you have a very nice bike.
Actually, fairly similar, yeah.
Yeah. So we're all going to buy Model 3s when they come out, and they're not going to be status symbols because they're going to be so cheap. But,
I'm just going to keep riding my bike for as long as possible. But
so that's it for follow-up for this week. Do we want to just transition? We can talk a little bit about bikes and then go to Pokemon.
Or is there a bike
Nick
story
has
here?
Bike story.
Where's the bike story?
I have a bike story.
I don't see any bike story. Oh.
It's under the title Le Mans Composites.
Let
me tell you about Le Mans Composites, Mike.
Tell me about them.
I think his name's Greg LeMond. He is a Tour de France winner. He was the first person to do so on a carbon fiber frame. And there's also a hilarious video of him winning.
Is that significant because it's a worse or a better frame? The carbon fiber.
Better.
So why is he the first?
Because he was the first person to ride a carbon fiber frame and win the Tour de France upon such a thing.
Oh, so this is like way back in the day.
This is the 80s.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Perspective for me. Okay.
There's also a hilarious video of his wife in the crowd shouting, "Greg! Greg!" when he actually won, but he didn't speak French, so he didn't understand what anyone was saying when they were announcing his times. But she knew his time, so she was trying to get his attention and get him to come over so she could congratulate him for winning. Right. But he's just like, oh man, did I win? Did I not win? This is horrible. I can't take the suspense.
Because it's a cumulative time over the various legs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not really first pass the finish line. I think it was that
stage too, and it had come down to that stage.
Right.
Huh.
Yeah, so he, along with this other lady, I haven't watched the actual video they have, but they have built a new carbon fiber manufacturing facility in Oak Ridge near the Oak Ridge National Laboratories, where they do actual research and development on carbon fiber. So they've come out with a less impactful manufacturing method. So it generates much less emissions or something like that. And it's also much more energy efficient and much cheaper. So their first goal is to have like actual mass produced carbon fiber frames to really bring down the cost. And further, like with the work they do on the carbon fiber frames, they're saying like they would love to see wind turbine, what do you call them? The wings.
Generators?
No, the spokes.
Oh, the blades?
Yes, the blades. They'd like to see like new blades made out of carbon fibers so they'd be more efficient. It's just that the costs of carbon fiber is so high right now that it would be not feasible to have those kind of blades, but
Right.
they see advantages coming all over the place. And I'm very excited because bikety bike.
So I have had a bike that had at least part of the frame be carbon fiber. And that's actually the bike that was stolen a little over, like almost exactly a year ago. I can attest to its amazing lightness and I guess flexibility a little bit, because it always seemed like it had a bit of spring, like not in a loose kind of way, but in like a powerful kind of way. And I really miss my poor bike.
I miss your bike too, Rob.
I am
But
indifferent towards your bike.
Hey,
Not for
Necessary.
you, not for you, just directly related to it.
So
Mike, you might not understand this, but Rob's bike and I spent good times together.
That's what I mean. I did
Rob
not
was
have
also
the,
there, but
I did not have the pleasure of those times spent with his bike, so I don't have that same attachment.
we went for rides down in Hogsback Park.
Yeah. When I was testing out bikes this past spring, when I bought one, I feel like I rode at least one that like yours had partly carbon fiber,
Right.
and it was quite a bit lighter, and I could see it giving an added benefit for those looking for that. But for me, I wasn't looking for that elite edge.
The bike
It's
I wanted
not
to
even
get.
an elite edge.
Well,
It's just an edge.
The
modern
one I wanted
edge.
to get was like a $1,200 bike. It was like almost twice as much, but it was mostly carbon fiber and it was like half the weight. But I wasn't allowed because insurance only paid out $1,000 and it was not going to cover it.
Oh.
I remember I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's into road biking, and the 100-kilometer rides and whatnot.
Century rides, they're called.
I'm sorry, Nick. Century rides, and so he rides with a group of people, and they'll
Is
talk
this person me?
no, they'll talk about how they've improved their bike, saying, "Oh, I swapped out this part for this part," and "Oh, I really want that new seat or whatever." It's like, "Oh, it's 25 grams lighter."
Saddle.
Right?
They're saddles.
Saddle. And so he said, "Oh, it's 25 grams lighter," and he'll be like, "You realize if you just lost like a pound, you'd gain more of an edge."
Way more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's funny. Like obviously, there's different degrees of improvement, but yeah, when you're talking about weight, you can probably do a lot more with your own body mass than you can with a bike.
Yeah. Just chop your arm off. It'll be harder to balance the bike, but you'll lose all that weight.
Get a prosthetic. It'll work out.
Carbon fiber.
Prosthetic. Yeah, there you go.
So Nick, are you in the market for a new bike, or you're just excited by the prospect of carbon fiber being cheaper?
I'm just excited at the prospect.
Okay.
I mean, I'd love a new bike, but that's just not going to happen.
Last time we talked, I think last time we talked about your bike, you were still in the process of getting your belt fixed, right?
Yes.
It was like a really long time ago. Is your bike good to go right now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
I'm surprised I didn't tell you about my bike ride down to Kaya's cousin's place when
It's
we were.
possible you did.
You mentioned it on Slack, I think.
It was a great ride. The belt worked fantastically. Well,
Good to know.
you have to go to work, Mike?
No, it's all good.
I'm glad to hear it. I don't have my light set up, though. the light setup that I've just been waiting and waiting and waiting to get.
What's that?
I think it's called the Luxos IQ2, and it's got a headlight, but it's got a toggle switch for it's one of the lights anyway. It's got a toggle switch into which you can plug a USB cable, so you can charge your phone while you ride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you remember those commercials where they said Wi-Fi in your car is the dream? No, charging your phone on your bike is the dream.
And this isn't one of those generators that would actually slow you down noticeably to get a good charge.
This is a dynamo, not a generator.
Okay.
I'd imagine it's a direct wattage conversion.
Yes,
if my conservation of energy serves me correctly.
Yes, I believe so. Like it must, because thermodynamics, but it's much less perceivable than the old generators.
Okay.
Because what's the wattage of a charger? Like 5 watts, I want to say.
The phone one's around 5 watts. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's how much energy you need to expel to charge.
Oh man, that's nothing.
At a similar rate.
So speaking of charging your phone while biking, this is something that you guys would no longer have to worry about if you were playing Pokemon Go.
That's true.
We held off,
especially after the last update. Oh, yeah. I am worrying about that.
We held off having a full review of the Pokemon Go Plus, but now that you both have one, we wanted to talk a bit about it and also some of the changes and updates that have kept happening to this game that, as far as I know, all three of us are still playing relatively frequently. I took a little break, but I'm back. So one of you guys, I don't know who wants to start, maybe Mike, because you've had it longer, but what's up with the Plus?
I was actually halfway to putting together a blog post about it, but like with most things like that, I take a couple pictures, think about it in my head, and never get around to doing it. So yeah, I bought one, I want to say 2 weeks ago at this point. I feel like it's been around that long.
I think it was at least 3.
2 to 3 weeks, we'll say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've been using it since then. I have 2 Pokestops at my office. Like literally, I can reach them from my desk. So that was half the reason I wanted it, because the band, for those that don't know, the band alerts you of nearby Pokestops and spawn Pokemon, and allows you to either spin the stop with the press of a button or attempt a catch with a press of a button. And the catch, or the throw anyway, is statistically it's 1 Pokeball perfect throw, and gives you the appropriate catch rate based on that, as if you had done it on
an excellent throw.
Yes. Yeah. At least that's what the data, not data mining, but data collection have kind of found out. And I did a bit of my own catch rate data collection when I first got it, and it was about 45% was my success rate. That's a gross catch rate, because there's different various types of Pokemon levels, which all play into the catch rate as well. Yeah. But the people who have done their own data collection as well have reported similar results. So 40 to 50% is their catch rate. So ideally, it all averages out based on the global spawn rates, as far as like levels and types of Pokemon and whatnot. So that should all kind of average out in the end. So the catch rate kind of is still valid.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of designed so that you can play Pokemon as in collect XP, candy, and Stardust, while not having to be staring at your phone the whole time, and in situations where you wouldn't otherwise be able to.
Right. Not even having it open.
Yeah. So this runs in the background as just like a notification process kind of thing. So you have to have the app open, but your phone can be locked and the app can be running in the background. And when a Pokestop or Pokemon is nearby, it kind of alerts you with the band via various lights and vibration patterns, and allows you to interact with the game passively, or as passively as you can. Yeah. It also tracks distance for egg hatching and the new Buddy candy collecting feature that they released 1 or 2 updates ago. So I found it really useful. I'm on the cusp. I'm like 2,000 XP away from level 28. So that's basically one level. Like level 27, I passed in about a week and a half, which is amazing. Because otherwise I'd never be able to do that. Like egg hatching works really well now because the GPS drift, it counts all that's running in the background when otherwise you wouldn't be getting that. And being in an office on the 15th floor, the GPS drift is quite significant. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's allowed me to kind of progress in the game when I haven't really been able to kind of get out for poke walks and that kind of thing. Like I can still go out for a walk and catch Pokemon and look for that kind of thing. But there's a lot of time where I'm walking through Princess Island Park and there's no Pokestops around, there's no Pokemon, but I'm having to kind of like stare at my phone. Yeah. Or I can't do anything else. But otherwise, with this ban, now I can have it just run in the background and be on Reddit or Twitter or whatever. And just when something comes up, I just reopen the app and interact with it at that point. So that's what I found has been the biggest benefit of it so far, is kind of releasing me from the shackles of staring at my phone in order to gain kilometers and XP and all that kind of stuff. So,
are you telling us that you have nothing to lose but your shackles and nothing to gain but your freedom?
I don't understand that reference, but yes. Nick, what's been your experience thus far? You've had it for
Well, I want to give a
days?
shout out because I have the best friends, namely the two people here who gave me a Pokemon Go Plus and some Google Play credit for my birthday for all the incubators that I would surely burn through the appreciable GPS wobble.
Yeah.
That sounded like a soundboard sound effect.
It
did. By the way, that upgrade, that credit was more for Bag and Pokedex upgrades if you hadn't already done it. Not that it was supposed to be used for that, just that's what we figured.
Okay, well
incubators just as well. Yeah.
Nick, it looks like you've been using it incorrectly. It looks like you're trying to use it to make the Leafs win. And although it does seem to be working, I don't think that's its desired use.
So I've uploaded a photo to Slack.
Yeah. I'm going to have to share this picture now somehow.
You
put it in the show notes. Yeah.
Because last night, I really wanted to watch the Leafs game because it was their home opener for home opener for their centennial season.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to get the GPS wobble and play Pokemon. And so I was able to just, click the button when it vibrated and watch the game.
Right.
I'm curious as to why you took the picture at that moment but didn't post it until now.
Because I forgot, Mike, because the Leafs were actually winning a game. And so I was just that engrossed. But yeah, I basically...
You live above a Pokestop, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah, so it's very beneficial to you as well.
And I frequently wobble up and down the street where I can hit the two Pokestops down the street.
Yeah.
But it's more or less what Mike said. Like, I like being able to collect the wobble, and yeah.
There's times where I feel that it's an unfair advantage.
It does seem that way.
On one hand, I don't care. On the other hand, it's an officially sanctioned and endorsed product to be used with the game.
Right.
So it's, to each his own, right? But I don't feel bad for using it.
If it was actually fair, nobody would have bought this thing, and they wanted people to buy it, so they had to give it
kind of an incentive.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like, I'm looking at the progress I've made over Kaya, when Kaya usually makes more progress than I do, and it is totally an unfair advantage.
It's not unfair, it's just an advantage.
Yeah.
I like it a lot, though.
Yeah.
To me, it makes up for the people who stare at Fast Pokemap all day, chasing down Snorlax. That's their advantage, and that's fine. It's an available resource. This is my available resource.
Mike, otherwise I'm just going to stop playing the game altogether.
You're saying you'll stop playing altogether?
If I can't get back on, because all I really care about at this point is finishing, like catching them all.
Yeah.
And with no mapping, I can't do, like, it's going to be totally random, and it's going to take years.
Yeah.
So, on the note, on the note of Pokemon Go, I have 396 Magikarp candy.
Ooh.
Wow.
I also have, I believe I have more than 4 Magikarp that I could throw away.
Yeah.
Which leaves me with an important decision. Because I have 1 Magikarp whose IVs are 29 of 30 and 15 of 15. I think its attack is 14 out of 15.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe I also have a Magikarp of the vintage where he could potentially evolve and get Dragon Breath. What do I do?
Couldn't
Just
any of them
what
get
do I do?
Dragon Breath?
No, not anymore.
Wait, what do you mean?
They took away the ability for Magikarp to get, or to Gyarados for that matter, to get Dragon Breath as a quick move.
But
Unless
some of
you
them-
have a legacy Magikarp that you caught before they took away that.
How would they do that in that way?
What do you mean?
It's fine that they did, but how would they know?
When you catch it, it's all code, like it's all predetermined what Pokemon it is.
But how wouldn't they do it across? I don't get it. How would they not do that across the board?
They do. Like they can.
Yeah.
They just don't want to take away Dragon Breath from the ones that already have it.
Right. So what you're saying is they've added evolution. They're applying evolutionary principles to Pokemon Go. They have evolved effectively the loss of this trait.
They've basically killed everyone that was able to have that trait.
Exactly.
So it's not quite
It's like
evolution.
eugenics, I guess.
Yeah, I was
more
gonna
than-
say. I was trying to think of the word. Yeah, that's probably the better way to describe it. As horrible as that is.
Right. Well, it's not really eugenics. It's like pre-eugenics. It's like the worst nightmare. Is that what Gattaca was about? It was like you could program your offspring to not have or have specific traits. They haven't killed anybody. They've just taken away future generations' ability to have it.
Sterilizing, almost.
Oh God.
Well, Gattaca was really about having 2 classes of citizens, but
Right.
Now there's only one class, the Bite Twister Gyarados. That's all there is now.
So, Nick, it really sounds like that makes your decision for you. You have to go with the old one.
Just, Nick, you just have to accept the fact that you will most likely have a Bite Twister Gyarados and just choose the Magikarp you will love the most.
it's really hard to do.
Okay, so I want to talk about Fast Pokemap a bit more.
Well, all of the trackers, but yeah.
Fast Pokemap was the last one standing.
Also, I want to point out that when I said I was using trackers, I was verbally berated by you two.
And then we got used to it.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a sec. So
Yeah.
Again, a bit of backstory for people unfamiliar with it. Pokemon is based on finding Pokemon. In Pokemon Go is based on finding Pokemon in the real world at various locations near or
Yes.
far away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And they show up on a little sub screen that you can pop up once you're within 200 meters of it. And because it was originally released with a indication of how far away you were from these Pokemon, and then it was taken away, so you're basically just kind of wandering around or hoping you run into it. These other sites came out with a tracking method where it basically mapped out the locations of these Pokemon and how much time you had left to find them.
Mhm.
And they did that by tapping into the servers that Niantic used and did some sort of hackery. And I don't want to use the term hack loosely because it's used way too much these days. But I think it was more hacking than it wasn't.
Reverse engineering, perhaps?
Reverse engineering is an accurate term also, I think, but I think it really was hacking. Like you unauthorizedly doing something in a way that wasn't intended by Niantic.
Yeah. So, but anyway, for a while, the servers were overloaded by these tracking sites, and Niantic gradually kind of shut them down in one way or another. And this other site, Fast Pokemap, was one of the final ones to still be around and hadn't been shut down. And recently they got to the point where they were shut down, and people use these sites to either look around them when they there's people that looked everywhere and said, oh, there's a Snorlax like 10 minutes away driving, let me run over there and go get it. And there's others like what I started doing towards the end when everyone and their dog had a Lapras and a Dragonite and a Snorlax, was if it popped up on my nearby saying as it was within 200 meters, then I went to go check the tracker to see where it was.
Right.
Because
I do not have a Dragonite.
No, I don't either. But
I have a stupid Lapras with stupid Dragon Claw.
Lapras,
which is stupid.
Lapras doesn't get Dragon Claw, does it?
Or
Dragon Pulse.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I
have two now. I caught one with decent IVs, which is CP 500 and something.
It'll take forever to level up.
And one that was hatched from a 10k egg, which is 1600 CP with stupid Dragon Pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Luckily, they both have Frost Breath,
this.
so that's great for Dragonite.
So, yeah, I have some thoughts on this because I'm in the camp that my use of tracking things, sometimes I just go and like I'll look at Central Park in New York and I'll be like, I wonder what Pokemon is there if I was there right now. And it's crazy. Like I would have caught them all already by now.
It's literally all of them?
In the next hour. It's not literally all of them, but it's enough of like the starters, for instance. And one of the last times I went there, I literally counted about 45 just within the bounds of Central, 45 different ones. And there was like the more common ones, there were at least like 10 to 20 of each. Like if you just looked at Central Park, you would probably see thousands of Pokemon at any given time. And the variety was quite high. And then you go and look, I don't know how Calgary is, but if you go and look at Ottawa, you might see in the entire city one relatively rare Pokemon you'd want to go catch, like that you'd actually get in the car and go catch if it was nearby. But yeah, it was tragic in comparison. And I imagine Southern California, like San Francisco area, is kind of the same thing as New York, where it's just crazy. Like you can just catch everything really quickly.
I guess they have a pier where Dratini will reliably spawn.
Okay. Yeah. And I know like Walt Disney World apparently is just like Magikarp Central. Like there's thousands of Magikarps all the time.
Interesting.
I saw a post on Reddit a while back of someone who worked there, and they just had some like thousands of Magikarp candy. It's disheartening in comparison because like if I happen to get
the mic just switched to Mike's empty room for a moment there.
Yeah. When I caught the Dragonite that I caught, it was doing the thing of checking the nearby screen and I saw it pop up and I just immediately went, okay, I'm going to find this, and opened the tracker, saw where it was, went to that spot. And I could tell that other people had been using tracking because there was a crowd gathered by the time I got there. And I would never have caught that if I had not had this. Like I wouldn't have known which direction to go. I've tried tracking things without the tracker, and it's like 25% success rate, and you have to spend 10 to 15 minutes searching.
I've tried using the tracker in like downtown or Mission Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not worth it. Like I can't get anywhere fast enough on foot in order to actually find it. It's only useful if I'm at a park and you can just beeline to wherever something is.
Yeah. But
in the summer anyway, like not so much now, but in the summer, you didn't need it there, because if there was a Dragonite, people would literally start shouting Dragonite, and you just had to follow the stampede of people to find it. I've seen one Dragonite in the wild, and it got away.
Oh wow!
I just couldn't hit it with my Ultra Ball.
Did I tell you my story?
No, but Mike's still gone, so
I know.
please do.
When I got there, I got to where the Dragonite was. There was a group of like a crowd of maybe 10 people, and I walked past them. Just like I didn't want to necessarily be near them. I wanted to focus and concentrate on all that. I had about 10 Ultra Balls and a bunch of candy. I used all but one of the Ultra Balls, and it kept breaking out. And I went, okay, I don't want to use the last one. I'm going to downgrade, or yeah, great, and then Ultra, right? Great's the second best one.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm not going to use the last Ultra Ball right now. I don't know why, but I was like, okay, I'm going to use a Great Ball and a Berry. And the first one hit it and caught it. I didn't use the last Ultra Ball. And somehow it was honestly just the craziest random number generated success. But it could have just as easily run away. Like I've had tons of ones that, like with the first Aerodactyl I saw, I used an Ultra Ball and a Berry, and it just ran away first try. Like I tried to get it, didn't work, and it ran away. And this one decided to stick around, and like it's just totally arbitrary. But that made me believe in the trackers. The one thing that I will say, walking, I totally believe you. You just look at the map and you're like, oh, that's like 4 minutes away, and it only has 2 minutes left. Like you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
When I had the tracker out and I had rollerblades, I was able to get, like I didn't really use it on an exploratory mission. I was going home, and it was like if anything was on the way, I was going to get it. But I ended up being able to hit like 7 or 8 Pokemon I needed that just happened to be nearby enough that I was just able to go quickly get it. Like it would take 2 minutes to get there instead of the 10 it would take to walk there.
Now, I don't know why, but when I picture this, I picture you in the rollerblades and short cut-off jeans and like a tank top.
Totally. That's how everyone rollerblades. That's
okay. And that's how you Pokemon Go.
And I had my one phone in the back pocket of my short shorts, the tracking phone, and I had the Pokemon phone in my hand. It's yeah.
Wait, so how does that work? I don't think I've talked to you about your 2-phone system.
My one phone at the time when the trackers were still working, I had one phone with the trackers open, and I had one phone with Pokemon open.
And a SIM card in each?
Yeah. Well, that's why I got the Fido 3 gig data plan for $15. $15 a month for 3 gigs. Data
so you
only.
Could have a tracker phone, or was that the Pokemon phone?
No, that was the tracker phone. It did be like now it is my Pokemon phone. Like I don't play it on my main phone. I play it on that phone. But the problem is that I use 30 gigs of data on my unlimited plan because I watch a lot of video on that phone.
Mm-hmm.
But also when I'm watching video, I can't do anything else. And so it's nice to have a second one. I always had the second SIM card, but it used to just be, I had a data plan that connected me to the internet and gave me 150 megs a month. But if I wanted to use more than that, it was going to cost an extra $15. Like it was going to be $25 a month for a gig. Like it would just automatically ratchet up to the next level. And so this is way better for me. Like I'm very happy with this 3 gigs because it means I can actually do stuff and not be worried about running out of data.
Now, for people who are live, I feel like that face on Mike was his working face.
Yeah. He is literally at work right now.
Yeah. I think he once said that's the difference between being salaried and hourly.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree, but definitely if you're in private industry and you're salaried, that's the case.
Mm-hmm.
As a government employee, I really think that I could fully say, no, I'm not doing this just because it's the weekend. But a lot of times you agree to.
You're also not in charge of or you're not a part of live drilling operations.
No, exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
But then I would hope the government isn't.
Yeah. Details. That said, I have a couple coworkers at the Bay, and there was a point at which I was looking after the time attendance because my boss was on vacation.
Yeah.
And I walked up to one of them and was like, "So you're signing in like really early, like way before your shift. Like, we're not paying you, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I like to get in a little beforehand and just tidy up, make sure everything's just so." And I'm like, "Okay, you're allowed to do that, but we're gonna have a serious talk about workers' rights later."
And what happened? Was there any fallout or any follow-up?
I like to think I got my point across.
Okay. Good enough.
Yeah.
So bringing it back to Pokemon, Nick, did you ever use or play the game before the nearby was gone?
No. I never knew the joy.
I can tell you it was glorious.
I bet.
It wasn't as good as having a second phone with a tracker on it. But
well, nothing's going to be.
But being able to see that you're on the right track, if you're walking towards a Pokemon, being able to see the number of footsteps going down, even without having the thing where you could actually like tap on it and have the map pop up where it is, like that would have been even more useful. But even just having the footsteps, I would play the game. Like I would get fully back into playing the game if I could do that again. I was saying on Slack, I think it was Thursday, I was taking the bus home and I saw a Porygon shadow, and I've never caught a Porygon. But
there was
I knew
one
there were no
spawned,
trackers.
like at our apartment.
Yeah. I knew
Kaya
there were
likes using it as a gym defender because it has like tackle and Psybeam.
Okay.
And so it just spans Psybeam and yeah, details. This is just a complete tangent.
Yeah.
I got a Shaggy Dog story for you later too.
Well, okay, so I'll finish my Porygon story.
Okay.
If I had had any kind of tracker or any kind of nearby feature, I would have seen it, gotten off the bus, and caught it. But because I had no nearby feature and no trackers,
you're just
stayed on the
helpless.
bus.
It's like, well, that's there.
I
Too
sat
bad
there
I'm
and
not going to get it.
I hoped it was just going to pop up, but it didn't, and so I gave up.
Okay.
And I was very sad.
So Mike's just getting settled, so I'm going to tell you this other story.
Sure.
So my ghost pepper plant has finally given me another ghost pepper.
Okay.
Like the last time it gave me any fruit, I repotted it soon after, and then it was like, whoa, I have all this room for vegetative growth. Why would I be making fruit? And so it finally gave me like a decent size. Like I can upload that to Slack as well. And you can share it with our listeners / viewers.
Sure.
That would place them in a different hybrid space. And so I decided to just go with a whatever meat sauce because I just couldn't be bothered to make like a really nice chili.
Sure.
And so cut into it, harvested some seeds. The meat sauce was made with like spicy sausage and a can of diced tomatoes and then just a can of regular tomato sauce. I believe the Socceroonie from Newman's Own or something like that.
Okay.
And just a couple more spices in there. Anyway, threw the pepper in there. And because I've had terrible, terrible experiences before, I always just like lick my fingertips to see how much chili oil has got on there. Because I need to be sure, because I'm going to touch other important stuff later. And I got to be aware of how much chili oil is on my fingers.
Mm-hmm.
And my fingers were pretty hot, like pretty spicy. So wash them a couple times more, like over the course of the evening. And then the next morning I wake up and I just like rub the sleep out of my eyes like this. And then a couple seconds go by, I thought, uh-oh. And it gets worse. I'm like, oh God, no. So this was a day where I was trying to sleep in, but instead I'm writhing around and going, "Oh God, oh, please start tearing up soon." Oh, pain.
You should invest in some food handling gloves.
I just need a pack of nitrile gloves. Like, they work fine.
Yeah, do it. So, Mike, we still want to hear what you think about this debacle.
Mm-hmm. I have more thoughts on it in a general sense, as far as a company's or a developer's commitment to the community and its users, and its acceptance of said community's initiative to embetter the experience for themselves.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys covered it already, but this map was developed for the community because the tracker was removed and people were using the tracker to various degrees. So again, some chased 10 minutes away, some looked at it when it was 2 seconds away, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But various people got benefit from it. But Niantic decided that it was cramping their style and they shut it down. And
it was intensive on their servers.
Well,
that was the main. That was what they said.
At first, it was.
Mm.
I don't think the same can be said for this. Like,
that was their reasoning, though. Originally,
that was the party line and the justification, sure.
Right.
But in this case, it's because it was something that Niantic hadn't developed, and it was allowing people to catch Pokemon that were supposed to be rare, but people had 20 Dragonites.
Right.
Like literally 20. That's not an exaggeration.
And not hatched ones, but caught.
Right. All caught, yeah. And not coincidentally, once Fast Pokemon came down, you started seeing rare spawns everywhere, like on the nearby screen, but people couldn't find them because there was no way to find them. Like, you just hoped you ran into them.
Right.
So that this was clearly motivated by wanting to maybe not artificially rarefy Pokemon, but allow them to be as rare as they were intended to be.
Right.
That whereas the tracker caused them to not be as rare because it allowed people to look for them and or just find them once they were on the nearby screen.
Yeah.
So Niantic wrote this, or not Niantic, Fast Pokemap wrote this open letter to Niantic about how they're not approaching this in the right way, that they're hurting their game, that they're hurting the amount of people playing the game, all this kind of stuff. And I was curious on your guys' thoughts on it. Did you guys read the open letter?
I did not.
Okay.
The open letter that came straight out of 2010, because they used Twit longer. Why wouldn't you use something like Medium or a blog engine instead of using a thing that lets you send longer tweets?
Right.
That was my first thought. I was like, "What? Why am I being redirected to Twit longer?" But I thought it was fine. Like, it's reasoning we've all heard before from the subreddit, from any other kind of anyone who's talking about it is using the same reasoning, the same language, the same everything. So it's not really new, but I would like to think if any single thing would get Niantic to actually pay attention, it would be that. But maybe they're famously not that open about development unless they're giving a press release about things they're going to do, but they're not going to discuss anything that they're not going to do. So I'm not hopeful, because they've been saying right that they want to reintroduce nearby. Like, from everything I've heard, if you're in San Francisco, you still have it. It's literally region locked to San Francisco.
Well, they're testing the current version of nearby tracking, where it directs you.
Yeah,
it tells you which Pokestop the Pokemon is closest to, if it's near a Pokestop, and otherwise, as far as we know, it doesn't show anything. It just shows them as nearby.
It doesn't show the footprints. Like, there's sightings and there's nearby in the
there's no footprints
version.
Well,
even in sightings?
No. At least my understanding is that, like, when they showed the original screenshots of what it was going to be, it said which Pokestop it was near, and it allowed you to navigate to it. Like, it had an arrow pointing to the Pokestop. Yeah. And then anything else just showed up as in the grass. Like, there were no footprints.
Okay.
So those you still had to hope you'd run into.
You know what? This whole conversation, like in the last day, has got me thinking about. Remember when it first came out, the grass used to rustle, indicating there's something nearby? That's also gone.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't
There was
get
a
it.
while where the grass would rustle, but there was actually nothing there.
I've had stuff appear in the grass. That might have been coincidence, but
I've
like
actually gone to rustling grass and found nothing. Or I did in the past.
What I understood rustling grass to be was that there was going to be a spawn there soon or at some point.
Well, aren't I an idiot?
Yeah, it didn't mean that there was something there immediately. It's just that there's something going to be spawning shortly. I think that's
Just
what I had heard. The
sorry,
wrestling was.
quick note. I'm uncomfortable, so I'm just gonna like be moving around a lot.
A lot?
Yeah,
or
like
for
more
a short
so than
time.
I have already.
As far as the open letter, like it was very dramatic and semi hyperbolic. Like it was impassioned, but the weight they placed on the tracking as contributing to the drop off in play, I think, is overstated in the letter. Like they used an example of, there was one spot that had 300 to 400 people, and now there's like 4, and that's all because of the tracker. It's like,
it's not.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think you're a bit off base there. And again, like we have quite an echo chamber on Reddit when everyone's complaining about it, but 90% of the people that are playing probably don't care.
Yeah, or don't even know about all this controversy.
Yeah, so yeah, it's a bit hard to kind of put it into perspective a little bit, but I'm just curious on if Niantic's stance on third-party development of tools is going to change. Like the Sylph Road is another, I guess you could call it, organization that does a lot of research and releases tools to assist or supplement your playing. And they haven't had any sort of backlash or response from Niantic on what they're doing, at least as far as we know. And I think that enriches the gameplay quite a bit, having that type of aspect. So I don't see why a tracker couldn't be another supplement for people who want to use it. Even if Niantic does like a limitation on, you can only see what's in that 200 meters around you.
Well, because what the tracking sites and what people have mostly been asking for is an API to direct, like to legally, so to speak, hook in to the system. To not like to be as efficient as possible, to be able to do things on reasonable timescales. Like they don't necessarily want perfect 1-for-1. If a Pokemon's there in real life, we want to be able to see it on the tracker. They want some way to be able to have an indication of where things are when they show up on sightings.
Yeah.
And even if like Niantic made an agreement or went into some kind of licensing thing where they said, this third-party tracker is endorsed by us, you can go use it, we're going to provide data in this way, it would dramatically reduce the amount of incentive for other sites or any other services to need to exist, because it fills the gap that people are actually talking about wanting.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to do that.
Yeah, I agree. Like the only complaints I hear now about the tracking is when people see something on there nearby and they want to find it, but they can't.
Right. Anything else isn't a valid complaint.
Yeah, because it's like, you weren't intended to see anything else anyway.
Right.
But the stuff that's on your nearby settings, you should be able to find if you wanted to, I think.
If you're willing to actually go and look, then you should be able to find it with 100% certainty.
If you spent that time.
Unless it disappears.
Right. But you can spend that time and still not find it.
Yeah.
And
you could spend that time walking in the exact opposite direction.
And never know.
Not know.
I would like to weigh in.
Sure.
One, I'm now holding my mic like a hand mic, so that's interesting. But at the same time, Ingress actually had an intel map. I know, Rob, you played. Mike, did you ever play Ingress?
No.
Okay. So I'm kind of surprised why Ingress had such a rich intel map, but Pokemon has nothing of the sort. And I mean, that said, the Ingress intel map Oh my God, was that slow to load? Like it just took forever.
The basis of the games are different though.
Yeah,
Like
that's what I was gonna say.
Pokemon has the battling aspect, which I think is closer to Ingress, but the idea of having to go around finding specific Pokemon, that's unique to Pokemon that doesn't have the same element in Ingress.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right.
Pokemon has an end game in catching them all.
Yeah.
Whereas Ingress is just kind of like leveling up and battling and trying to maintain dominance of a region.
Yeah.
And being able to link, like if you could link gyms together, which is, I guess, probably something they are working on. Like you can in Ingress, you actually create links between the different portals. But there's nothing like that in Go.
Like
imagine if you could make fields in Pokemon Go, and if you make fields, you're likely to spawn your legendary bird or something like that.
That would be so awesome.
Yeah. Like we had yesterday, I think I'm still in a level 10 gym in our community here. And there's a gym right across the street from it that when I was there yesterday, it was level 9.
Mm-hmm.
So like that was really cool. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like, but currently there's no incentive to have dominance like that.
Right.
Like it doesn't it's just cool to dominate an area, but it's like, well, the gyms aren't stronger because of it. Mm-hmm. There's no, like you said, added Pokemon spawning bonus or anything like that.
It would even be cool if while you wouldn't even necessarily have to be in the gym, but if your team held a gym, it would have a slightly higher spawn rate when you're nearby it.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty cool. It would give you incentive to keep a gym.
Yeah.
And to be just at a gym, which I think should be incentivized.
Yeah, I agree. But anyway, as far as the tracking versus Niantic thing, like we'll see how it progresses. And, John Henke or Henkel or whatever the guy's name is, has said that the app right now is at its minimum viable product status still. So they still have a ways to go until it's where they've idealized it would be.
Right.
So I guess we can just hope that they continue to add improvements.
Well, it's just whether they keep making money long enough to get to the better product, or if people lose interest, and they should be trying to keep people's interest as high as possible.
I wonder, a part of me wonders if they're just trying to get it to a point where a company is interested in buying their company, and then that Niantic? Company, or just a product, and then that new company would take over the development of it, or at least fund the development of it. So they're kind of proving it out and saying, hey, look, there's demand for it. Mm-hmm. But they don't want to invest too much capital into it before another company buys it.
Right.
Possibly. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
So do you guys have anything else to say on Pokemon? We've crossed past the hour now. I'll take that as...
I mean, so much, but...
Not for this show.
We'll save it. We'll see how weather trackers come back online. I think we're getting close to the longest, since they started being a prevalent thing, that the longest they've been offline since the game came out. So we'll keep following up, but until then, thanks for listening to Future Chat. You can head to unwindmedia.com/futurechat to see past episodes of the show and to see the picture of, I guess, your pepper plant. That's what we're going to see.
No, I gotta upload that too.
And much more. So thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.
Ciao.
Toodaloo.
All right. Any afterthoughts?
I'm so tired.
Oh, my egg is still in its gym. I think we're going to go level it up after
Still
this.
Confusing.
It really shouldn't be confusing, Rob.
But it is.
I can't wait to make Exeggutor my buddy.
Yeah.
Or Growlithe, so I can get an Arcanine.
Arcanine's the best. I evolved the second one rather than powering up my original one because I thought it was going to have a higher CP, but it has a lower CP, and I'm very disappointed.
What?
You can calculate that.
It was close. It was close.
Rob.
It was close. I'm very disappointed in myself.
I'm
In
disappointed in you too.
Yeah. I had been saving it up for a really long
Yeah.
time because there used to be
That's a very small pepper.
Yeah, it is a very small pepper. There used to be a nest, but now there isn't a nest.
Yeah.
So I was having to wait a long time in between them.
Speaking of nests, Oddish is very prevalent now. So I have enough for a second Vileplume. But
It's pretty good.
I don't know which one to evolve because I have an 11-14 one. So it's got 14 out of 15 stamina, but 11 out of 30 attack defense, which is horrible.
Ooh.
Yeah. But it's high CP. So
So you're thinking about following the Rob model? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I briefly considered it, but I'm like, nah, it's not worth it.
It's worth it.
I'm not in a pressing need for a Vileplume right now. I have my Victory Bell.
Oh, okay. So what I'm hearing is that in your area, the water metagame isn't stale, and you couldn't use something with Solar Beam. That must be nice.
Well, no, what I use for water is my fully powered Jolteon and Electabuzz.
It's like Jolteon's good, don't get me wrong, but
Jolteon is amazing, Nick.
my Vileplume, even though it has stupid Moonblast, like Vileplume with Razor Leaf is pretty great.
You know what I
for
think?
The water mons.
You know what I think the worst aspect of Vileplume and Victory Bell, for that matter, is?
What's that?
Is their poison typing. That kills me every time. It's like I come up against, I don't know, like a Hypno, and I'm like, oh, frick, forgot.
Why are you using them against a Hypno?
Well, no, it'd be the one following the water one, and then I'm just like, oh, I'll just keep them in. And I'm like, oh, crap. So I got to switch them out quickly.
I switch like there's no tomorrow. I am all about the typing.
Or if you're up against like a Slowbro, and you're like, oh, it's water. And it's like, no, psychic moves. Crap.
That's when you use Jolteon.
No, I know. That's why I just use Jolteon.
You can only wear through so many water mons in the gym, though.
It's true.
Also, that Vaporeon I evolved on a whim. Oh. It's not even like the best IVs, but Water Gun and Hydro Pump together in one Pokemon?
Yeah. Hydro Pump is crazy. Like, really good DPS.
Water Gun is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, now when I use my Vapes against like a Flareon or Arcanine, I just spam Water Gun. I don't even use Water Pulse because the DPS of Water Gun is better than Water Pulse.
Yeah. I just dodge everything and Water Gun. It's amazing.
Well, you still dodge the charge moves, but I don't even worry about using my own charge because it's Water Pulse. It's horrible.
It just means you take damage. It's terrible.
Who takes damage?
Also, I've been trying to prestige up gyms lately. I'm finding my Executor like very frustrating to prestige against.
How so?
What was I using?
Well, you should use Bug.
I was using Scyther.
Yeah,
I know.
Scyther knows Steel Wing. I'm pretty sure Pinsir knows maybe he knows Fury Cutter.
Do you not have a Parasect with bug moves?
Yeah, but they're like level 900, and I just kept taking Solar Beam and
right.
Lag, I tell you.
Yeah, I've got one with Fury Cutter and Exciser.
I should be using Nidoking because he knows Fury Cutter. Because RNG just does not smile upon my Nido royalty.
Yeah. But Nidoking has the psychic weakness too. Again, thanks poison typing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? See?
Fusion.
I want to use my Nidoking against Executor, but it's like every psychic move just...
Sludge Wave is great on Clefables, though.
Poison Jab is good too.
Because for whatever reason, Fairy is weak to poison.
For some reason, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
If you guys want to continue having a goes deep conversation, you're welcome to. Honestly, you're welcome to.
I should probably go.
I'm surprised we're still alive.
I know, right? I want people to hear.
Can we have an after show?
The bandwidth is free.